We are a group of 4 people working on a student project week by SEJ International. For 14 days, we develop a forestal conservation project with the purpose of bringing back nature to Algesur, which belongs to Parque Natural do Sudoeste Alentejano da Costa Vicentina.
Our main focus was to identify possible monocultural patches that could be turned into natural corridors for dispersive animals to move between native forests. We chose eucalyptus plantations since previous studies showed that these patches are less adequate for carrying species. Why is that? These monocultures create a less humid environment and with less nutrients, being inadequate for a lot of animals and plant species to grow.
To identify the corridor suitability, we sampled 3 corridors, each with 1 eucalyptus plantation between 2 native forests, and compared the results in 3 different categories: soil, plants and animals. Moreover, we interviewed locals, tourists and firefighters in the area to get an overall opinion regarding the perceptions, problems and possible solutions concerning this topic.
Hi, I'm Márcia. I'm 21 years old and I'm from University of Lisbon and I'm the animals girl. So now we're going to talk about animals. And why are animals important? Animals are important because they give us the habitat suitability, which means if you see a large animal, which can be a mammal or a bird of prey, that means there's a lot of small animals that they feed on. So this means that there's a lot of water and nutrients and food that this habitat provides to those animals. So you should always check for mammals, reptiles, arthropods and birds. So for reptiles, for example, because they are ectothermical species, they try to look for shade when it's too hot. So you can also see in between the bushes and trees and in between the litter and some cracks and holes where they can protect from the heat. So you should choose a spot, a random spot that you think is representative from the area, and you should look for 20 minutes between the bushes. And you should register every species and how many individuals you can find. For arthropods, it's the same method. You choose a representative spot and for 20 minutes you look around. Normally, arthropods, there's a lot of different species, so you should try to see in the bushes, you can sweep them, you can also see in the litter or in the branches, and also register every animal and every how many animals there are. We also use pitfalls that you can put on ground level. You make a little hole and there has to be like this. You put a little bit of ground or leaves and a little bit of water, so just to create a bit of humidity and not to kill the animals. So some coleopters, for example, they are important decompositors that transform the vegetation into nutrients so that plants can use them again. Can fall in the traps and then you can see them and count them. Then you have birds, which you also choose a representative spot and try to listen. But because it's difficult to analyze the different sounds when you're not an expert, you should use an app or maybe a guide so they can help you identify them. And if you're not sure, you can also record for 20 minutes and then you can check at home. Mammals. It's a little bit trickier to search for animals because they have a lot of mobility. But maybe you can choose to look for scats or trails or footprints. For example, mice are very common in forests and they leave a small footprint that sometimes it's difficult to track, but with some guides it can help you. Or wild boars leave a little bit of a trail and scats when they go around. So you can also look around for 20 minutes and register everything that you see. You can also collect the scats and then you can try to identify it at home.
Regarding animals, it was possible to conclude that native forests have more diversity than plantations, since a greater number of arthropods and birds were found. Furthermore, it was possible to find traces of wild mammals in these forests, while in the plantations, only traces of mammals associated with anthropogenic use, such as donkeys and horses, were found. results, our future aim is to present them to landowners in order to show that a rewilding of their patch could have a sustainable and economic profit, improving the diversity in Al Jazur.